Hey guys, selling 2005 Honda CRF450X. Thought I'd do a quick walk around of it. Love to get details, but it's just, it's kind of hard to do without making the video too long. It's been a great bike. Most of the stuff I'll just list in the listing, but I thought I'd do a walk around in a startup just to help anyone who's interested, I guess. It's not a garage queen, even though it looks really good on pictures and video. But it's got its use. It's scratches and dings, and some things aren't as shiny as they should be. But it's all stock except for a couple of things. The radiators are aftermarket. Those got twisted and leaked in a fall, so I replaced them with something other than OEM. Handlebars aren't stock either, but that's no big thing. And then the intake valves are steel. They're not titanium anymore, and they're in spec. It's all good. Okay, just to show it's cold. Completely grab that. This might be a little challenging because I've got to pull on the clutch on Hondas. So I'm going to pull on the clutch. There it goes. Alright, I'll just do one more walk around and we'll call this one complete. There's the light working. Light works. It's good. The only thing I'll say I'll close is stock jetting on the carburetor. So the good news is it works in a really good wide range of altitudes. The bad news is it's a bit of a bear to start cold. So it's even worse when it's been sitting for several months and then it's cold outside. That's when it can be a little bit of a challenge to start. The electric start, of course, helps with the kickstart backup. But that's my only gripe with it, honestly, that and it's heavy. But for what it is, it's been a really good bike. And I actually, I mean it when I say I really don't want to sell it. But it's time. And it doesn't get ridden. And so here it is. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, I thought I'd do a follow-up video. I guess I could go into some more detail since it's going to go up on YouTube here, and it allows me some opportunity to go into some more detail about the bike and not just be so vague. Therefore, whoever's interested, you guys can be a little more informed. Maybe hopefully catch most of your questions, even though you're more than welcome to contact me for any other questions. But again, from the top, this is a 2005 Honda CRF450X. I am the second owner. Bought from the original owner, that makes sense, right? Who took really good care of it, but he rode it and I've ridden it. And so in my first video, that's why I said it's not a garage queen, but it looks amazing. But I'm being honest, right? It's been ridden. There's wear everywhere. Here's some wear, right? Some dents, dings, scratches. Hubs aren't nice and fresh. They're dingy and dirty, and it's just it's been ridden. It's been a great bike. It's given me no troubles at all. But even though it looks really good on film, not much of a salesperson, am I? Even though it looks really good on film and pictures, if you look up close, you're going to see that it's been ridden, it's been loved, and it's been enjoyed. And that's really the one of the biggest points I want to get across. So again, all stock except for those things I mentioned in the first video. Let's see. Where do I want to start? So the good news is it runs and doesn't have any like big oil leaks. I did spray it down, but it might seep just a wee bit through this gasket. And but otherwise, it's all tight. It's all really good. The forks that I Don't see any leaking seals. They're all good. The shock, actually, honestly, I don't remember checking it. It seems good. Maybe a slight bit of leak from the shock, but not enough to really like drain fluid and get it all over the place, right? There's this tacky mess from previous chain lube. I haven't wanted to put in the time to get rid of that. Shame on me, right? But that's there. And then otherwise, just an overall dinginess of some of the parts, the hub, you know, the brake caliper, the frame could use some Scotch-Brite. You know, just stuff like that. I wish it were new looking, but it's been ridden, right? So anyway, yeah, it's completely stock, other than the radiators, intake valves, and what else did I mention before? The handlebars, but that's not a big deal. But other than that, it's completely stock. Let's see, I did add a R&D FlexJet, what is that what's called, fuel screw to it. So that's a little different. The chain's brand new. It's been out one ride. It still has some of the dirt from the original grease, but it's brand new. Front, rear sprocket, chain, all changed at the same time. But back to my good news. Sorry, I'm getting digressed here. Is it runs good, looks good, and it's good strong power without ripping your arms off like other 450s. You know, honestly, I know there's tons of things you can do to these bikes to open them up and make them breathe better. Probably start a little easier in the cold, but I just felt like A, it didn't need it. B, I wanted to keep the reliability, and C, I've been able to get incredible altitude range out of the stock jets that are in it. It might have a slight bog if you really twist the throttle, a little hesitation, like it might need just a little more fuel there, but I'm never in that situation. Like I never raced it, just trail ridden, and so the power has always been there when I've needed it, and so I didn't want to mess with cutting the pink wire, cutting a hole in the air box, you know, and doing a jet kit. Although I love JD jet kits, they've worked amazing for me in other bikes, but I just wanted to keep this one as it was because it's always run for me. It's always started, and I wanted to keep that the reliability factor. That's the other reason why I went to stainless steel intake valve. So if you've done your research, or if you know anything about these early 450Xs, especially on the 250. The 450s, not so much, but to a lesser extent. The intake valves wear rather quickly, something to do with the coating on the titanium valves and the material of the head, something along those lines. And but it never wore, you know, beyond, you know, way past spec, right? I was told that you get two adjustments. After two, then you should change the valve. So that's exactly what I did. The previous owner had it adjusted twice, and I checked it when I bought it. It was in spec. It's always started, which is a tell that their intake valves are going, or they're sucking up, right? Is when it starts to become hard to start, and that's hot or cold. And if they've been in spec, it's always started, and so I just kept monitoring it, checking it every year, every 6 months or so. And then it finally got to the point where it was right there, close to being outside of the spec range and the gap closing. And so I changed them out and put stainless steel in, and they haven't moved. I've got the date when I did that project recorded in the book along with other things. And it hasn't moved since. Well, it was last time I checked it. So, and that's been a while, but the bike hasn't been ridden consistently in the last 3 years. So yeah, so that's been done. Otherwise, like I said, completely stock. What else can I tell you about it? Other than, I wished I'd just put 4-wrap on it. I went the flag route, and these ones are kind of flimsy, but you can buy bars, and they'll be good to go. I guess that's basically it. So that's the good. The good is a great bike. It's been well cared for. It hasn't been abused, and nothing major is wrong with it. Like, again, I'm full transparency here for you guys. Nothing major is wrong. It is rideable right now. Now, of course, it does have a lot of time on it. When I did the valves, I also went ahead and did a new piston and ring. It didn't even need it. There's nothing that said, oh, it needs a top end. Well, I'm in the head anyway. I might as well do it because it was high time. And so it does have a new piston and ring and intake valves. That was all the same job, and I have a record of that to show you. But other than that, I'd say so that's the good, right? The bad is like things are wearing out. I could probably use brake pads in the rear, definitely tires. The front one's okay, but the rubber's a little bit old, and it's more of a hard pack tire. So kind of up here in Idaho in the loose stuff, it kind of has a tendency to wash out a little bit. So I would probably recommend a change there. The back is needing it as well. And rather than me do it and put my favorite, I just thought I'd let the new owner put whatever favorite tire they want. And yeah, that was my decision there. But other than that, yeah, like it's just the miscoloration. Mechanically, it's sound. I replaced the clutch cable recently, and so it's back to being more smooth and not really hard to pull. You know, you can one finger it, and I don't have big arms, so you can one finger it. And so that was OEM replacement. That's been recent. I put these Pro Taper contour bars on just to see what all the hype was about a fat bar, and it was a little bit taller, just to give a little bit more comfort when standing up, I guess. It's not that it's uncomfortable, just to give a little bit more. And let's see, air filter. Actually, you know what? I actually haven't checked this. Oh, it's not bad. Okay, pretty good. I was gonna feel bad when it was all caked on dirt and I'm making a video about the bike. But other than that, the discoloration, it's been in really good shape. I wished I could have changed OEM. I'm kind of an OEM guy. I'm not much of an aftermarket parts guy, but the price difference between this is the Tusk radiator kit from Rocky Mountain, and the OEM was, I couldn't ignore it. It wasn't my main bike at the time. I've got a 2020 KTM 300 over there that I now ride. And so I just didn't want to put OEM, spend the money on the OEM parts. So it does have these Tusk aluminum ones that are supposed to do a better job at cooling, because that's my other gripe, is when you get slow on the trail, this bike has a tendency to get hot and it will boil. It's got engine ice in it, and that helps raise the boiling temperature so you don't boil as often, but it has the collection tank. So it's really not as big of a deal. I've never lost the coolant. It's just been boiling. When I stopped, I could hear it, right? That, and it's heavy. Honestly, those are my two gripes. But the back tire, back to that. Sorry, I'm trying to catch it all. I'm all over the place. It has an old worn out mousse in it. It's still functional. It stays on the bead. The bead stays on the rim, but it needs to be replaced. So I'll leave that up to you, whether or not you're gonna, whatever you want to do for that. But I ran heavy duty tubes, like the 4 mil tubes, front and rear, in this bike for years in southern Nevada in the desert and sharp rocks and things, and I never had a problem with heavy duty tubes. My personal recommendation is tubeless, but I never had a problem with heavy duty tubes. So yeah, that's the bike in a nutshell. The starter motor also has been rebuilt and is fresh. Sometimes I don't know if there is a one-way bearing inside here that's starting to wear, because sometimes it will start and it'll make like a chirp sound, but it's, like I said, it's never not started and not crank, so I haven't worried about it. But yeah, again, airbox is all stock pipe, stock everything except for the intake valves and the radiators, and it's been such a great bike. I don't want to sell it. It's just that I don't ride it, and this video's getting really long, and it just needs to be ridden. Needs to go. It's time. I'm just getting too sentimental, but it's really been a great bike, and I've enjoyed it. especially when the trail opens up. It'll get to be a little more wide open. Last, before I go, I do have service manuals for it, and this is the factory, the Honda dealership manual, so it's the good one with all the details on stuff, specs and stuff. And then here's the owner's manual, and I just wanted to show you how meticulous the previous owner was. And not that I haven't been meticulous, but I didn't go to this. This is almost OCD meticulous, but it's fantastic. Like, he's kept records of all the service, everything he's done, when he installed a new tire, the mileage on it, how much it cost. Just really good notes on this bike. Let's see, here we go. There's some more. When he changed sprockets, when he changed jetting, and the results. Just really good, good backstory information on it. Maybe I should have led with this, because this really is what sells used bikes, right? 2011, 12. And this is where I did the top end service. I made my own note just because I wanted to kind of continue this. But since then, I haven't done anything major other than oil changes. And I've always just done that when it starts to get coffee colored, never burnt. So it's, and I've always used synthetic, which is just something I like to do. Honestly, I can look you straight in the eye and say I haven't abused this bike. It's been super great for me. So let me know if you have any questions. We're at 13.5 minutes. This got long. Probably got wordy. Apologize, and let me know. Thanks, guys.